Aliens discovered Earth for the first time. The galaxy watched in terror. The first sign of something unusual came quietly, almost like a whisper in space. Far beyond the orbit of Neptune, a small sensor satellite floating in the void picked up a faint signal. It was not strong, not bright, but it had a regular rhythm that could not be ignored. Dr. Lily Hart, a young scientist working at a remote observatory in Arizona, was the first to notice it. She had spent countless nights staring at screens and charts, looking for patterns among the stars. This was different. "This can't be natural," Lily murmured to herself, leaning closer to the screen. Her eyes, tired from hours of staring, focused on the lines moving across the monitor. The signal repeated, steady and deliberate, as if something intelligent had sent it. She quickly called her colleague, Ethan Collins, who had been tracking unusual readings in deep space for years. "Ethan, come look at this," she said over the phone. "It's coming from the outer edge of the solar system, past Pluto. It doesn't match anything we know." Ethan rushed to the observatory. "Are you sure it's not interference?" he asked, adjusting the controls. Lily shook her head. "No, this is organized. It has a pattern. Someone or something made this." They stared at the screen in silence for a moment, both aware of what this could mean. In the history of Earth, humans had always wondered if they were alone in the galaxy. Some scientists believed life might exist on distant planets, but intelligent life. That was another matter entirely. And now, it seemed, someone had noticed them. Half a galaxy away, Commander Jalen of the Vrelian Scout Fleet noticed Earth the same way humans did, through sensors and signals. The Vrelians were an advanced species with sharp minds and cold calculations. They had explored thousands of star systems, encountering civilizations that were primitive, weak, and easy to control. But this blue planet, small and seemingly quiet, had emitted something different. It pulsed with energy. "Commander Jalen," said Lieutenant Core, standing rigidly beside him, "we are detecting unusual energy patterns from this world. It is unlike anything we have seen in this sector." Jalen's eyes narrowed. He had seen many worlds. He had seen entire civilizations rise and fall before he could blink. But this, there was something strange about it. "Prepare the observation drones," he ordered. "I want a full scan. I want to know what makes this planet different." Back on Earth, Lily and Ethan continued to study the signal. News had begun to spread quietly among scientists, though the general public remained unaware. Governments were not yet informed. The idea that another intelligent species might be watching, or even approaching, Earth seemed far-fetched. Yet, Lily could not shake the feeling of being watched. By the next morning, the signal had grown stronger. It was still subtle, almost like it was testing them, probing for a reaction. Dr. Maria Owens, an astrophysicist working in New Mexico, joined Lily and Ethan to help analyze it. Maria was calm and practical, with a mind that could untangle the most complex problems. "Whatever is out there," Maria said, "it is not hostile yet, but it is observing, carefully, like a predator studying its prey." Lily shivered. The thought was frightening yet thrilling. Humans had never faced anything like this before. They had explored the moon, sent probes to Mars, and built telescopes to watch the stars. But the stars had always seemed distant, safe. Now, something across the galaxy was aware of them, and it was moving closer. Within days, governments began to notice. Satellites picked up strange objects moving in unusual ways around the solar system. Military leaders held emergency meetings, trying to figure out whether it was a threat. Admiral Cara Flynn, newly appointed head of Earth's Space Defense Program, called together her team. "What do we know?" she asked, her voice steady but tense. Colonel Alex Monroe, a strategist with years of experience, replied, "Sensors indicate multiple large craft, possibly ships, are approaching. They are not acting aggressively yet, but they are monitoring us. We have no idea what they want." "Prepare defenses," Kara said. "We don't know what they can do, but we must be ready. Alert every space station, every satellite. If they decide to attack, we need to respond immediately. In orbit, the Vrelian drones began their scans. They hovered silently above Earth, observing cities, forests, oceans, and mountains. They noticed the strange structures humans had built, the enormous populations, and the variety of vehicles moving along the planet's surface. But what caught their attention most was human behavior. Humans adapted quickly, even when faced with natural disasters. They built cities where storms raged, homes near volcanoes, and farms in deserts. They survived floods, plagues, and wars. They were fragile physically, yet astonishingly resilient. Jalen watched carefully as humans went about their daily lives. "They are persistent," Lieutenant Core said, his voice filled with disbelief. "They should not be able to survive in so many environments. Their defenses are weak, yet they endure." Jalen nodded slowly. "Observe everything. I want to understand them before we make any decisions. Intelligence alone is not enough. Strength matters, but so does willpower. We will see how far they can go." On Earth, Lily, Ethan, and Maria worked around the clock, trying to understand the intentions behind the signals. The world had entered a tense silence. Ordinary people continued their lives, unaware of the eyes watching from the sky. But scientists and military leaders knew that everything could change in an instant. One night, as Lily walked home under the quiet stars, she thought about the possibilities. Could humans communicate with these beings? Were they friendly, or were they hunters like some kind of galactic predator? She felt a mixture of fear and excitement. Meanwhile, Ethan reviewed historical data from deep space probes. "They may be trying to learn about us," he said. "Look at this. Every time a civilization reaches a certain level, they leave patterns. Signals, structures, energy emissions. It's like they are leaving footprints for others to see. Maybe the Vrelians detected that and now they are curious." Maria looked over his shoulder. "Curiosity can be dangerous, Ethan. It can also be deadly. They may decide to test us. We don't know what their standards are." The following weeks brought more signs. Satellites detected massive ships entering the outer solar system, moving in formation. Military radars tracked them, but no weapons were fired. Humanity realized that if these visitors wanted to attack, there was very little they could do. The ships were huge, far beyond the size of any human vessel. Their materials resisted human scanning. Admiral Kara Flynn addressed the world in a broadcast, urging calm. "We do not yet know the intentions of these visitors. We ask everyone to remain vigilant but not to panic. Our scientists and defense teams are monitoring the situation closely. Together we will respond to any threat." Even as she spoke, humans on the ground like Ryan Clark and Sarah Miller watched the night sky with a mix of awe and fear. No one had seen ships so large, so silent, and so imposing. Some whispered that this was the end of humanity, while others believed it was the beginning of a new chapter. Jalen, on his observation deck aboard the lead Vrelian ship, studied Earth. He had commanded fleets that conquered entire systems. He had crushed rebellions before they even began, but Earth was different. It seemed fragile, but somehow it radiated a strength that was difficult to measure. He felt something he rarely experienced: caution. "They are strange," he said quietly. "We cannot predict them. They adapt quickly, survive where they should not. There is more here than we understand." Lieutenant Core frowned. "Commander, do you intend to make contact?" Jalen remained silent for a moment, then shook his head. "Not yet. We observe first. We learn, then we decide. A species like this cannot be ignored. If we underestimate them, it could cost us dearly." And so, humanity waited, unaware of how closely the galaxy now watched them. In observatories, in homes, in military bases, people like Lily, Ethan, Maria, Kara, and Alex worked tirelessly, preparing for a future that could change the course of history. The signal that had started quietly in the depths of space had grown into a presence that could no longer be ignored. Earth was no longer a secret, and the galaxy had begun to focus its attention on the tiny blue planet that had survived against impossible odds for millions of years. The night sky, once calm and familiar, now held eyes that could see everything. And on Earth, humans continued to live, unaware of just how extraordinary they appeared to the watchers above. The first time the Vrelians sent a ship close to Earth, no one on the planet noticed. It moved silently, faster than any human-made object, hovering above the Pacific Ocean without creating a single wave or sound. The humans who saw it in the distance thought it was a cloud or a mirage. Only the satellites recorded it, sending data to Earth's space agencies. Dr. Lily Hart and Ethan Collins were among the first to notice unusual readings. "Look at this," Ethan said, pointing at the graphs on the screen. "Something is moving very fast, very carefully. It is not following natural orbits." Lily frowned. "It is observing. I can feel it. Something intelligent is here and it wants to stay hidden while it watches us." Maria Owens joined them, rubbing her tired eyes. "We need to alert the military," she said. "They cannot ignore this." The military response was cautious. Admiral Cara Flynn organized a team to track the Vrelian movements without provoking them. Satellites, radar, and even deep-sea sensors were used to follow the alien ships. What surprised the humans most was the aliens' patience. They did not attack, did not land, and did not communicate. They simply watched, as if studying every move of the planet. Meanwhile, the Vrelians were shocked by what they saw. Commander Jalen could not hide his disbelief as his observation drones moved through the skies of Earth. Humans were everywhere, adapting, creating, surviving. Cities stretched across continents, with millions of people moving like a single organism. Vehicles of all sizes moved with precision, and humans built enormous machines to extract energy, explore the seas, and fly above the clouds. "They are resilient," Lieutenant Core said. "Their technology is crude compared to ours, yet they achieve incredible results." "They survive disasters that should wipe them out." Jalen nodded slowly. "It is not their technology that is impressive. It is their will. They do not give up. They adapt. They learn. They survive." On Earth, humans began to notice strange events. Farmers in South America reported seeing strange lights in the sky that moved with intelligence. Pilots flying across the Atlantic noticed objects that appeared and vanished in moments. Military radars detected immense energy pulses, though no weapons were fired. Colonel Alex Monroe analyzed the data. "They are scanning us," he said. "It is not random. They want to learn about everything, our cities, our weapons, even our population. They want to see what we can do before they act." Lily, Ethan, and Maria worked day and night trying to understand the alien scans. Every discovery brought both excitement and fear. "They are mapping our energy sources," Lily said one night. "They know where we generate power, where we communicate, even where we live." Maria frowned. "That could be dangerous. If they decide to attack, they will know exactly how to strike. We must learn as much as possible, but quietly." Even ordinary people began to show signs of awareness. In Japan, a teenager named Kenji Sato noticed strange objects moving through the night sky. He and his friends tracked them using a telescope and shared their videos online. In South Africa, a small village watched as lights hovered above the mountains, disappearing when approached. These sightings caused curiosity but also fear. The Vrelians continued their observation, sending drones into cities, forests, and oceans. They were fascinated by humans' ability to survive in harsh conditions. People like farmers, miners, and construction workers handled extreme heat, cold, and storms without hesitation. Scientists and engineers like Lily, Ethan, and Maria built machines and devices to solve problems the Vrelians could not understand. Commander Jalen watched the humans closely. "They are unpredictable," he said. "They are not organized like most species we have studied." Yet they find ways to survive that no logic can predict. Lieutenant Core shook his head. They are weak physically, Commander. Their weapons are primitive. Why do you say they are dangerous? Jalen's eyes narrowed. Strength is not only physical. Intelligence, willpower, and adaptability can make a species powerful. Humans have survived disasters that destroyed entire planets' civilizations. That is not weakness. That is evolution in motion. Back on Earth, Admiral Kara Flynn held a meeting with her top scientists and military leaders. We do not know their intentions, she said, but we know they are observing us closely. We must continue to study them but also prepare for defense. They may strike if they feel threatened. Colonel Alex Monroe added, we should also consider communication. If we can reach them before they act, it may prevent disaster. We need someone who can think clearly and calmly, someone they cannot underestimate. The team considered the options. Diplomacy seemed impossible. Humans had no experience communicating with alien species, and any mistake could provoke disaster. Yet, ignoring the Vrelians was also dangerous. Meanwhile, small human actions began to surprise the Vrelians. People repaired broken machines with limited resources, built temporary shelters after storms, and invented clever ways to transport goods across cities and mountains. Even when accidents happened, humans quickly adapted and solved the problems without panic. On the Vrelian ship, Jalen frowned. Why do they not panic? He asked. Why do they continue their lives as if nothing threatens them? Lieutenant Core studied the data. It is as if they expect danger and welcome it. They learn from mistakes. Every failure becomes a lesson. No other species behaves this way. Jalen leaned back, thoughtful. Perhaps that is the key. Perhaps their survival comes not from strength, but from the ability to face the impossible and continue. On Earth, Lily, Ethan, and Maria continued their work, trying to predict the Vrelians' next moves. They studied the objects in the sky, the energy readings, and patterns in natural events. Every observation showed intelligence beyond what humans had expected. Lily said one evening, they are patient. They are learning, but they do not act yet. That means they are cautious. They do not want to make mistakes. That is something we can use. Ethan nodded. If we remain calm and observe, we might understand them before they understand us. Then we can prepare properly. Maria added, we must also show them that we are not helpless. They are testing us, and we must demonstrate that humans can survive and adapt. That may be the only way to prevent an attack. The Vrelians continued their surveillance. They watched cities at night, observing lights, movement, and energy usage. They scanned oceans, noticing ships, submarines, and underwater installations. They examined forests, deserts, and mountains, watching humans navigate through all types of terrain. Commander Jalen began to realize that humans were more complex than he had expected. They are not organized like armies, he said. They do not follow simple commands, yet they achieve more than expected. They think individually but work collectively. Their unpredictability is remarkable. Lieutenant Core was still doubtful. Commander, they are not a threat yet. Why do you fear them? Jalen's eyes were serious. Because if they learn how to fight us, they may become unstoppable. This species does not give up. They survive where others fail. That makes them dangerous in a way most species cannot understand. On Earth, ordinary people went about their daily lives, unaware of the watchers above. Farmers like Miguel and Rosa continued to plant crops, builders like Tom and Alice repaired roads, and children played in fields and parks. The Vrelians observed it all, fascinated by the humans' determination and resilience. Even small acts impressed the aliens. A team of construction workers in Germany repaired a bridge damaged by a storm in record time, using only basic tools. In Australia, a remote village rebuilt after a fire using local materials and ingenuity. The Vrelians had never seen a species so capable of turning disaster into progress. Back on Earth, Admiral Kara Flynn watched the data carefully. She realized that the human's ability to adapt could be a defense in itself. "We do not need to fight yet," she told her team. "We need to learn, prepare, and show the Vrelians that humans are not weak. Our survival instincts may be our greatest weapon." Lily, Ethan, and Maria worked late into the night, analyzing the aliens' patterns. "They are not just observing cities," Lily said. "They are observing people. They watch behavior, decision-making, reactions to challenges. They are studying what makes us human." Ethan leaned back. "Then we must show them our best, our intelligence, creativity, and resilience. We must prove that humans are not just fragile creatures. We survive, we adapt, and we overcome." The Vrelians continued to hover, sending drones into the skies, oceans, and forests. They noted humans' ability to work together, to solve problems quickly, and to remain calm in dangerous situations. Every observation increased their respect and their caution. Commander Jalen finally spoke to his crew. "Do not underestimate them," he said. "They are small and fragile, but their minds are sharp. Their will is stronger than any weapon. If we act too quickly, we may awaken something we cannot control." Lieutenant Core looked puzzled. "Commander, they are primitive. How can they be dangerous?" Jalen's gaze was steady. "Danger does not always come from strength. It comes from determination, adaptability, and the refusal to surrender. Humans have survived everything the universe has thrown at them so far. That is why the galaxy will watch with fear if they awaken fully." On Earth, life continued, but awareness of the aliens' presence grew. Scientists, military leaders, and even ordinary citizens noticed strange patterns in the sky, unusual signals, and unexplained phenomena. People like Lily, Ethan, Maria, Kara, and Alex worked tirelessly, knowing that the next weeks could change history. And far above the planet, Commander Jalen watched. He had conquered countless worlds, defeated powerful civilizations, and ruled entire star systems. Yet he had never encountered a species like humans. Small, fragile, and unpredictable, they were also clever, adaptable, and unyielding. The galaxy had begun to notice Earth, and its inhabitants were about to realize that being watched was not just a warning. It was the first step toward a test that would decide their place among the stars. The Vrelians moved closer to Earth, carefully. Their massive ships glided above the clouds without making a sound. They did not attack, but their presence was obvious to satellites and advanced sensors. Humans began noticing strange objects in the sky, strange flashes of light, and odd readings in communications. Dr. Lily Hart and her colleagues worked around the clock to understand the signals the aliens were sending. It seemed that the Vrelians were scanning, testing, and learning. Each pulse of energy, each drone, was meant to probe Earth's defenses and observe human behavior. Ethan Collins stared at the monitor, his face tense. "They are not just watching cities or armies, they are watching people. They are watching how we think, how we solve problems, how we react to challenges. They are trying to understand us." Maria Owens nodded. "If they can predict us, it could be dangerous. But if they misjudge us, they will see something they cannot control. Humans are clever. We adapt quickly, especially when faced with threats." Meanwhile, in space, Commander Jalen and his officers studied Earth closely. Drones had mapped entire continents, scanned the oceans, and even monitored small villages. What they saw puzzled them. Humans were weaker physically, their weapons smaller, and their structures primitive compared to the Vrelians. Yet humans survived disasters that should have destroyed them. They solved problems in ways that were unexpected, showing creativity and courage. "They are not strong in the way we are used to," Lieutenant Core said. "Why do you think they are dangerous?" Jalen's eyes narrowed. "Because they never give up. They survive situations that would destroy others. They adapt, learn, and act in ways no other species can. That is what makes them dangerous. Strength is not always measured by power. Sometimes it is measured by will." On Earth, Admiral Kara Flynn called a meeting with top scientists and military leaders. The news of the Vrelians' closer approach had reached all governments. She addressed the team seriously. They are observing us directly now. We have confirmed their ships are in orbit. We do not know their intentions, but we must be ready. Our defenses, our communication, and our ability to adapt may be the key to survival. Colonel Alex Monroe spoke next. We must also try to communicate. If we can show them that humans are capable of reason and intelligence, it may prevent hostility. But we must be careful. Any wrong move could provoke an attack. Lily, Ethan, and Maria worked on a plan. They studied the alien signals and tried to decode patterns. They are not just monitoring energy, Lily said. They are testing how we respond. Every time there is a natural disaster, a city problem, or an accident, they record our reactions. They are learning from us. Maria added, then we must show them our best. Not panic, not fear, but intelligence, resilience, and unity. We need to demonstrate that humans are not easily defeated. The Vrelians had also noticed human resilience. A sudden earthquake in South America caused damage to roads and buildings, but humans immediately organized rescue teams. They cleared rubble, repaired critical infrastructure, and saved lives, using little more than teamwork and clever improvisation. Jalen observed this from the command deck. They survive because they never stop, Jalen said. Even when everything is against them, they fight back. That is something no other species we have studied has done. Lieutenant Core frowned. Commander, should we make contact? Or continue observing? Jalen remained silent for a moment. Observation first. Contact only when we understand them. We cannot underestimate them. A species that survives disaster after disaster is not weak. It is formidable. Back on Earth, humans began showing cleverness in unexpected ways. Farmers in remote villages built temporary shelters after storms using only local materials. Engineers repaired broken bridges with limited tools. Children in schools participated in science projects that demonstrated resourcefulness and teamwork. Even small actions mattered, and the Vrelians recorded everything. Colonel Monroe suggested a plan to show the aliens humanity's strength. We can create coordinated signals, he said. Show them our intelligence and ability to work together. Lights, patterns, communication from every continent at the same time. It may demonstrate that humans are capable of organization and reasoning. Admiral Flynn agreed. Prepare teams in every major city. Use satellites, radios, and online communication. Let them see us as more than individuals. Let them see us as a united species. Lily, Ethan, and Maria coordinated the effort. They developed signals that could be sent across the planet, patterns that were intelligent, organized, and understandable to any species observing from orbit. For the first time, humans were actively sending a message to the Vrelians, not just waiting to be studied. When the signals were activated, lights and patterns appeared across every continent. Satellites recorded the sequences, and drones above Earth picked them up. The Vrelians analyzed the signals carefully. They were impressed. Humans had shown creativity, coordination, and intelligence in a way that no other species in the galaxy had demonstrated. Jalen's expression was unreadable. They are clever. They are unpredictable. This is a species that does not simply follow orders. They act, think, and adapt in ways that are difficult to anticipate. That is dangerous. Lieutenant Core shook his head. They are still fragile, Commander. Their technology is weak compared to ours. How can you fear them? Jalen turned to him. Fragile, yes, but unpredictable. Determined, adaptable. Every weakness they have is covered by their ability to think, learn, and respond. That is why they survive. That is why the galaxy should take notice. Humans continue to adapt quickly to every challenge. When a severe storm struck Europe, ordinary citizens organized rescue efforts, evacuated towns, and repaired power lines within days. Scientists in laboratories developed new solutions for energy distribution, communication, and transportation. often using unconventional methods that impressed the Vrelians. Even in the oceans, humans demonstrated cleverness. Submarine teams repaired underwater pipelines, navigated dangerous currents, and explored deep-sea environments with precision. Pilots flew through stormy skies, navigating with minimal technology, relying on instincts and quick thinking. Every action told the Vrelians that humans were not merely survivors, they were problem solvers. Jalen spoke quietly to his officers. We have underestimated them. Observation shows that they are not simply primitive. They can act, adapt, and survive in ways we cannot predict. If we make a mistake in judgment, it could cost us. Lieutenant Core still struggled to understand. They are small and weak. How can they challenge us? Jalen's voice was calm but firm. They have something stronger than any weapon, the will to survive and the ability to adapt. We have conquered thousands of species, but none have survived as consistently as humans. That is their power. On Earth, Admiral Flynn realized that the human's greatest strength was not in weapons, numbers, or size. It was in unity, creativity, and intelligence. We must continue to adapt and improve, she told her team. Our actions, our intelligence, and our cooperation may be the only way to ensure survival. This is not a war yet, but it could be in the future. We must be ready. Lily, Ethan, and Maria worked on decoding more alien signals. Each pulse, each flash of light, each movement was analyzed for patterns. They are not just scanning energy, Lily said. They are observing behavior, choices, and reactions. They are trying to understand what makes us human. Ethan nodded. Then we must show them the best of humanity, our ingenuity, courage, and unity. That may be our strongest defense. Meanwhile, in small towns and cities across the planet, humans began taking initiative without realizing it. Farmers shared resources with neighbors during droughts. Engineers developed new systems for water and energy distribution. Children created projects that solved local problems. Every act, big or small, was noticed by the Vrelians and recorded for study. Jalen watched the data with growing respect. Humans are unpredictable, he said. They are fragile, yet unyielding. They are clever, yet disorganized. They survive disasters, adapt quickly, and respond creatively. That is why they are dangerous. That is why the galaxy must watch carefully. Lieutenant Core finally understood. They may be weak physically, but their mind, will, and adaptability are weapons in themselves. That is what you fear, Jalen nodded. Exactly. Do not underestimate them. If they unite, if they decide to fight, they could challenge forces much stronger than themselves. Observation only tells part of the story. The rest depends on how they act under pressure. On Earth, humans continued their work, unaware of how closely they were watched. Scientists, engineers, military leaders, and ordinary citizens all played a role in demonstrating humanity's resilience. Every action, every problem solved, and every challenge faced was a message to the Vrelians. Humans do not surrender. Humans survive. Humans adapt. And far above the planet, Commander Jalen made a decision. We will continue to observe, but we must prepare for the possibility that this species may become more than we expect. Patience is essential. Underestimating humans is a mistake no Vrelian should make. For the first time, the Vrelians truly understood that Earth was not just another small planet. It was a living, breathing test of survival, intelligence, and determination. And the humans, without realizing it, were proving that they belonged in the galaxy in a way that no one, not even the most powerful observers, could ignore. The Vrelians had been observing Earth for weeks now. Commander Jalen called a meeting with his officers on the bridge of the largest ship. They were not far from the planet, high enough to see the oceans, clouds, and land. The planet looked small and fragile from space, but Jalen's eyes were sharp. He had watched humans closely, and every day he became more puzzled and more cautious. "Commander," Lieutenant Core said, "we have scanned their cities, their armies, and their machines. Their technology is primitive compared to ours. Why do you continue to study them instead of acting? Jalen's face was calm, but his eyes were serious. We cannot underestimate them. They are weak physically, but they survive disasters no other species can. They solve problems that seem impossible. They adapt and learn faster than any species we have encountered. That is why we wait. Another officer, Captain Vey, spoke. They are clever, yes, but what can they do to us? They have no fleet, no weapons capable of threatening us. We could destroy them in hours. Jalen shook his head slowly. Strength is not only measured by weapons. A species that can survive hundreds of disasters, that can act quickly, think creatively, and cooperate effectively is dangerous. They may not appear strong, but under pressure they become unpredictable. That is the danger. On Earth, humans were starting to notice more of the Vrelians' presence. Strange objects hovered in the sky near cities and mountains. Satellites picked up unusual signals, and strange patterns appeared in energy readings. People began to whisper, but most assumed it was another natural phenomenon. Only scientists and military leaders knew the truth. Intelligent aliens were studying them. Dr. Lily Hart and her colleagues worked non-stop, trying to understand the aliens' behavior. They are testing us, Lily said one night. Every time there is a disaster, accident, or emergency, they record how we react. They are studying human decision-making. Ethan Collins nodded. We need to act, not just wait. If they see that humans are clever, adaptable, and united, it may stop them from attacking. We have to show them our strength without fighting. Maria Owens added, we must be careful. They watch everything. One wrong move and they may decide we are too dangerous to let live. But we can use this as an opportunity. If we show them our best, it could change how they see us. Admiral Cara Flynn gathered her top leaders for a special meeting. We have an opportunity, she said. The Vrelians are observing. We know they are intelligent. They are analyzing our behavior. Now we must demonstrate that humanity is capable, resourceful, and united. Every action we take must send a message that we are not weak or helpless. Colonel Alex Monroe spoke next. We can coordinate efforts across continents. Cities can light patterns, industries can organize signals, and communities can demonstrate problem-solving and teamwork. If they see humans working together intelligently, it may make them pause. Lily, Ethan, and Maria worked with teams across the globe. They designed signals that humans could create using lights, energy patterns, and synchronized communication. These patterns were visible from orbit and could be detected by the Vrelians' sensors. Meanwhile, small actions by ordinary humans began to catch the attention of the Vrelians. Farmers repaired roads and irrigation systems after storms. Builders restored homes after floods. Engineers created new ways to transport energy and water efficiently. Children and students invented clever solutions to local problems. Every effort, no matter how small, was noted by the aliens. Jalen observed it all from the bridge of his ship. Humans are persistent, he said. They are weak in strength, but their mind, will, and adaptability make them formidable. They solve problems that should destroy them. That is why they survive. That is why they are dangerous. Lieutenant Core frowned. They are still small and fragile, Commander. How can they be considered dangerous? Jalen looked out at the blue planet below. Danger does not always come from physical strength. It comes from intelligence, adaptability, and the ability to survive against impossible odds. Humans have done this for thousands of years. That is what makes them dangerous. On Earth, humans continued to organize. Cities coordinated lights and signals that could be seen from orbit. Scientists sent synchronized radio pulses that formed simple, intelligent patterns. Communities across continents demonstrated teamwork and problem-solving. Even natural disasters became opportunities to show adaptability. Emergency response teams acted quickly, repaired damage, and saved lives. The Vrelians recorded it all. Drones flew above cities, mountains, forests, and oceans, observing humans' reactions. They noticed how humans shared resources, coordinated actions, and adapted quickly to new problems. It was unlike any behavior Jalen had ever seen. "Commander," Lieutenant Core said quietly, "they are clever. They are not weak. I understand now why you warned us." Jalen nodded. "Do not underestimate them. If we misjudge this species, it could cost us dearly. We will continue observing. Contact will come only when we are certain of their capabilities. Patience is essential." On Earth, scientists and military leaders realized the importance of showing unity. Every city, every town, and every community took part. They repaired infrastructure, solved local problems, and coordinated with neighboring regions. Engineers, students, farmers, and ordinary citizens worked together to demonstrate human ingenuity. Even in the oceans, humans showed resourcefulness. Submarines repaired underwater pipelines. Research teams navigated dangerous currents. Coastal towns built temporary shelters for storms and floods. Every action was small, but together it painted a picture of a species capable of surviving almost anything. Jalen and his officers studied all of it. "They are unpredictable," he said. "Every action shows intelligence and adaptability. They are weak physically, but their minds are strong. If they unite, they could become unstoppable." Lieutenant Core asked, "Do you think they will attack us if we make contact?" Jalen shook his head. "Not yet. They have not shown aggression, but they are learning. If they feel threatened, if they are cornered, they will fight with every resource they have. That is what makes them dangerous. We cannot act without caution." Meanwhile, on Earth, Admiral Flynn continued her leadership. "Our goal is to demonstrate humanity's strength through intelligence, unity, and adaptability. Every action, every project, every effort counts. We must show them that humans do not surrender, that we survive, and that we can solve problems even under pressure." Lily, Ethan, and Maria worked late into the night to coordinate more signals. "We need to show them not just our ability to survive, but our ability to think, create, and adapt. That is what they respect," Lily said. Ethan agreed. "Every pattern, every signal, every coordinated action is a message. Humans are not to be underestimated. We may be small, but we are clever and resilient. That may be the only way to avoid conflict." Maria added, "And if we can show them our ingenuity without provoking them, it may earn their respect. That is the best defense we have: intelligence, creativity, and willpower." The Vrelians continued to monitor, sending drones deeper into forests, oceans, and cities. They recorded every detail, from the way humans repaired damaged buildings to the way they solved traffic problems in megacities. They noted how humans adapted quickly when their technology failed, using simple tools and clever ideas to overcome obstacles. Jalen finally spoke to his crew. "We are seeing a species unlike any we have encountered. They are weak physically, yet they survive disasters that destroy other civilizations. They adapt, learn, and act intelligently under pressure. That is why we observe. That is why we wait. We cannot underestimate them." Lieutenant Core nodded. "They are clever, Commander. They may be fragile, but their mind and will make them formidable." Jalen agreed. "Exactly. Every failure they face is a lesson. Every disaster they survive strengthens them. That is what makes them dangerous. Patience, observation, and respect are essential. Underestimating humans would be a mistake." On Earth, ordinary people continued to act with courage and ingenuity. Farmers repaired irrigation systems. Engineers fixed broken bridges. Students built solutions for local problems. Communities organized relief efforts after storms, floods, and accidents. Every small action contributed to a larger picture. Humans were not just surviving, they were thriving under pressure. The Vrelians recorded it all. They noticed the creativity, the teamwork, and the problem-solving. Every small act impressed them. The humans' intelligence and adaptability were unlike anything Jalen had ever seen in the galaxy. Jalen spoke quietly to his officers. They are unpredictable, clever, and determined. If we misjudge them, it could cost us. Observation continues. Contact may come, but only when we are certain of their abilities. On Earth, the scientists, military leaders, and ordinary citizens continued their efforts. They repaired, adapted, and demonstrated intelligence at every turn. They sent signals, coordinated actions, and solved problems creatively. They did not know it, but every move was shaping the way the Vrelians viewed humanity. For the first time, humans were proving something to the galaxy. They were not just fragile creatures living on a small blue planet. They were clever, resourceful, and adaptable. They could survive almost anything, and they could solve problems that seemed impossible. And far above the planet, Commander Jalen realized that the humans of Earth were not just another species to study. They were a force to be respected. If provoked, they could be more dangerous than anyone expected. The galaxy had begun to take notice of Earth, and its inhabitants, without realizing it, were showing the Vrelians that survival was not just about strength. It was about intelligence, creativity, and the unyielding will to endure. Humans continued their work without realizing just how closely they were watched. Every small action, every solution to a problem, and every display of cooperation was being recorded by the Vrelians. Commander Jalen observed the planet from his ship, silent and thoughtful. He had seen civilizations rise and fall, species fight and surrender, but humans were unlike anything in his experience. They are clever, persistent, and unpredictable, he said to Lieutenant Core. They adapt faster than any species we have studied. Their technology is simple compared to ours, but their intelligence, creativity, and willpower make them formidable. We must reconsider our approach. Lieutenant Core frowned. Commander, they are still weak physically. They have no large fleet, no weapons capable of reaching our ships. How can they be dangerous? Jalen's eyes were steady. Strength is not always measured by weapons. Strength comes from resilience, from unity, from the ability to survive and adapt. Humans survive disasters that destroy entire civilizations. They solve problems we cannot predict. That is why they are dangerous. On Earth, scientists, engineers, and leaders continued to organize. Cities across continents coordinated signals, lights, and patterns that could be observed from space. They repaired infrastructure, rebuilt after disasters, and solved problems creatively. Ordinary people contributed without realizing the importance of their actions. Dr. Lily Hart worked with Ethan Collins and Maria Owens to coordinate the largest demonstration of human ingenuity the world had ever seen. We need to show them everything, Lily said. Our ability to adapt, to solve problems, to work together. They are watching everything. We must prove that humans are capable of more than they expect. Ethan nodded. We will use everything. Energy patterns, communication signals, coordinated actions in every city, and solutions to ongoing problems. Let them see that humans are not weak. Maria added, even small actions matter. Every repair, every rescue, every clever idea shows them our strength. We must act as one species united. Meanwhile, ordinary people like farmers, engineers, teachers, and students continued their daily work with dedication. A storm had damaged a city in Europe, and people worked day and night to restore power, clear roads, and help those affected. In South America, engineers repaired bridges and irrigation systems after floods. Children in schools built projects to solve local problems, from water distribution to energy management. Every action contributed to the demonstration of human capability. Admiral Cara Flynn watched the coordinated efforts across the globe. This is what I hoped for, she said. We are showing the Vrelians our intelligence, creativity, and unity. Every action, no matter how small, sends a message. Humans are not helpless. We survive, we adapt, and we can solve problems that seem impossible. Colonel Alex Monroe added, "We must continue to coordinate. Every continent, every city, every community needs to contribute. The Vrelians are observing everything. Our intelligence and creativity may be the only way to gain their respect." High above the planet, the Vrelian drones recorded everything. They saw humans adapt to disasters, organize complex solutions, and cooperate across great distances. They noticed the speed with which humans learned, solved problems, and overcame obstacles. The Vrelians had never seen such behavior. Commander Jalen observed quietly. They are clever, adaptable, and persistent. They survive against odds that would destroy most species. Their strength is not in weapons, but in mind, creativity, and determination. We must respect them. Lieutenant Core spoke softly. "Commander, if they unite fully, they could challenge forces far stronger than themselves." Jalen nodded. "Exactly. That is why we observe. That is why we wait. One wrong move from us could awaken a force we cannot control." Back on Earth, the humans' demonstration reached its peak. Cities coordinated lights, energy pulses, and signals that formed intelligent patterns. Scientists sent synchronized radio pulses across continents. Communities showed how they could work together to solve problems, even in disaster situations. The combined efforts of millions of people created a network of human intelligence visible to anyone observing from space. The Vrelians were impressed. Captain Vey spoke first. "Commander, they are incredible. Their technology is simple, but their intelligence and adaptability surpass anything we expected. They solve problems we cannot predict. This is extraordinary." Jalen remained silent for a moment, watching the planet below. "They are not just clever, they are determined, resilient, and persistent. Their will to survive is remarkable. This is a species to be respected, not underestimated." Lieutenant Core asked, "Do we make contact now, Commander?" Jalen shook his head. "Not yet. Observation continues, but we must reconsider any plan of attack. If they realize our presence and unite fully, they could become dangerous. We must proceed with caution." On Earth, the humans' efforts began to yield results beyond what they expected. Local disasters were managed quickly and efficiently. Infrastructure was repaired faster than ever. Energy and communication networks were synchronized and optimized. Humans showed the ability to adapt to new technologies and methods instantly, often improving on what was already available. Dr. Lily Hart watched the data with Ethan and Maria. "They are noticing everything," she said. "Every solution, every action, every display of intelligence and teamwork. They are seeing what humans are capable of." Ethan smiled. "It is working. They are beginning to understand that we are not just a small, weak species. We can survive, adapt, and solve problems creatively." "That is our strength," Maria nodded. "And the more they see, the more respect we earn. They may decide that attacking is too risky. That is what we want, respect and caution instead of hostility." Commander Jalen spoke to his officers once more. "Humans are unpredictable. They survive disasters that should destroy them. They adapt quickly. They act collectively when necessary. They are clever, resourceful, and determined. This is not a species to fight without caution." Lieutenant Core finally understood. "They are weak physically, but their mind, will, and adaptability make them formidable." "That is what you feared, Commander," Jalen nodded. "Exactly. Every time they face a challenge, they grow stronger. Every time they solve a problem, they become more capable. This is why we observe. This is why the galaxy must take notice." On Earth, humans continued to demonstrate unity and intelligence. Engineers developed new energy systems that were more efficient. Scientists created advanced communication networks that worked even in disaster zones. Communities organized complex disaster responses, repairing infrastructure and helping citizens in record time. Even children contributed with clever ideas that solved real problems. The Vrelians watched in silence, recording every detail. They noted how humans adapted to changes in the environment, solved problems creatively, and worked together despite differences. The humans' resilience and ingenuity impressed them more with each passing day. Jalen spoke quietly to Lieutenant Core. "We have seen a species that survives, adapts, and solves problems we cannot predict. Their strength is not in weapons or fleets, but in intelligence, creativity, and unity. That is why the galaxy must respect them." Lieutenant Core nodded. "They are formidable, Commander. We cannot underestimate them." On Earth, Admiral Flynn addressed her team. "We have shown the Vrelians our capabilities. We have demonstrated intelligence, creativity, and unity. Our survival instincts, problem-solving, and cooperation have sent a clear message. Humans are not weak. We can adapt and overcome challenges, no matter the odds." Dr. Lily Hart and her colleagues continued to monitor the Vrelians' signals. "They are impressed," Lily said. "Every action we take is being recorded. They see that we are capable, intelligent, and adaptable. That may be enough to earn their respect and prevent hostility." Ethan Collins added, "We have not fought them, but we have shown our strength. Humans survive through intelligence, creativity, and unity. That is our true power." Maria Owens nodded. "And if we continue to act this way, we may become a species they respect rather than fear. We have proven that survival is not just about strength. It is about intelligence, resilience, and adaptability." Far above the planet, Commander Jalen made a final decision. "Humans are unlike any species we have ever encountered. They survive, adapt, and solve problems that should destroy them. They are clever, resilient, and determined. We will continue to observe, but we will no longer consider immediate action against them. This species commands respect. The galaxy must take note of Earth." Lieutenant Core smiled. "Commander, they are small and fragile, but they are stronger than we imagined. I understand now why you warned us." Jalen nodded. "Exactly. Do not underestimate them. One day they may become a force the galaxy cannot ignore. Until then, observation and respect are our duty." On Earth, ordinary humans continued their lives. Farmers, engineers, teachers, students, and citizens everywhere worked, solved problems, and helped each other. They did not know that the galaxy now watched them with awe and respect. Every small action had contributed to a larger demonstration of human ingenuity and resilience. The Vrelians, once confident in their superiority, had learned to respect the humans of Earth. They saw that survival was not always about strength or weapons. It was about intelligence, creativity, willpower, and the ability to adapt to challenges. Humans had proven themselves worthy of attention and caution. Commander Jalen looked down at the blue planet below. Earth is not just a small world. It is a crucible of survival, intelligence, and resilience. Humans are not weak. They are clever, adaptable, and determined. This species is extraordinary." Lieutenant Core nodded. "The galaxy will watch them closely, Commander, and rightly so. They have proven that survival is about more than strength. It is about mind, will, and unity." As humans continued to live, work, and solve problems on their small blue planet, the Vrelians began to retreat slowly. They left drones in orbit to continue observing, but they no longer planned to interfere. The humans had earned respect, not through weapons or conquest, but through intelligence, resilience, and unity. And so, the galaxy watched in awe as humanity proved something remarkable. Even a small, fragile species could survive against impossible odds, adapt to challenges, and earn a place among the stars. Earth was no longer just a quiet blue planet in a distant corner of space. It was a symbol of resilience, creativity, and determination, a species that could not be ignored, underestimated, or dismissed. Humans had shown the true meaning of strength, the courage to face the unknown, the intelligence to solve impossible problems, and the will to survive against any challenge. And in doing so, they had sent a clear message to the galaxy. Underestimate us at your own risk.